Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com. By FeatherSnap, the smart bird feeder with a high-resolution camera and species identification software aimed to educate and spread joy to every level of avian enthusiast. Learn more at feathersnapcam.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning. Welcome to our show, number 1019. That's morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're listening. It's our first show of the new year, and we can't help but notice that here in our southern New England home base, it's cold. We're cheered up by winter birds out there in our Talking Birds garden. We've been looking at dark-eyed juncos, a couple of pine siskins, white-throated sparrow, white-breasted, and red-breasted nuthatches. But it's still cold, so let's escape for a little bit here to a place pretty close to the equator by way of an audio postcard from Siva Golpadanayanan. And right after that, by the way, we have a little special announcement about our audio postcards program. Hello, Siva.
Hey, Ray and friends. This is Siva from Inirida in Colombia in the Amazon rainforest with my friends watching birds. What you hear in the background is the gray-cowled wood rail going loud. There is also a sunbittern right in front of us. I'm with my friends here.
Jackie from Four Rivers, Audubon.
Freya
from Monterey, California.
Glenn from San Diego.
Luis from Colombia.
Yeah, and we are here with our wonderful guide, Ottar, and he's checking out more birds for us here. All right, happy birding. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Siva and friends, including Jackie, because we have something special about Jackie and a photo from there. We'll get that onto our website, and we'll have some more details about that on our next show. Well, here's that special announcement. It's about audio postcards in our new audio postcard map that you can access through our website if you just go onto our website. And I believe it's under the Get Involved tab there. I should have checked that again, but it's pretty easy to find. And it's a map showing all the places in the world from where we've received audio postcards, and there are lots of them. Just go to talkingbirds.com. Audio postcards, pretty easy to make. Just grab a smartphone and record yourself describing birds you see or hear wherever you are, and send the file to Ray at talkingbirds.com. A little shout out here, too, to a recent show guest, Robert Bell, author of Out of the Limelight, Into the Sunlight, Birding as Therapy for the Chronically Ill. He posts some terrific photos on a daily basis that are really worth checking out on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram, all under his handle at The Birder Bob. And if I'm not mistaken, that is our mystery bird. I'm pretty sure about it. It's our preview of the contest coming up in just a little bit later on in our show. So this is a little preview, so you'll get an idea of what that bird might be, and we'll call for your calls a little bit later. Our bird is a medium-sized perching bird with a black-barred brown back, a black tail, and a white rump. Its underwings are yellow in the eastern form and red-orange in the western form. Our bird can hammer on trees till the sun goes down, but prefers to find food on the ground. Ants are a favorite. It's found year-round over most of the U.S., with additional breeding territory through Canada and Alaska. Something about our bird, and we have fabulous prizes for the winner of our Mystery Bird Contest, and we'll detail those in a little bit, a little later, he tried to say. Here's a salute to another Talking Birds ambassador, and it's Kathy from Fresno, California. Thank you so much, Kathy, and thanks for your kind words about the show. Ambassadors are a big deal to us here at Talking Birds. They help us spread the word about our show. We're honored to have more than 900 ambassadors now doing that. To become an ambassador is really easy, and so is being one. Just go to talkingbirds.com. And in this case also click on that Get Involved tab at the top of the page. Still to come today, we'll learn about a fascinating and important new project meant to help reverse the decline of an iconic bird, ultimately, the wood thrush, with our special guest, migratory bird biologist Sarah Kendrick. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for a Let's Ask Mike segment, almost live from the archive, about Mozart's favorite bird, Sturnus vulgaris, the European starling. And up next, a very large bird that's not as large as it looks is today's featured feathered friend. We learned recently that just as there are traditional birthstones and flowers for each month, there are also birds for each month. And it happens that the bird for January is the owl. But apparently just a generic owl, or maybe a composite of some sort. Well, since no specific owl species is named, we thought we'd choose one as our first January 2025 featured feathered friend, the great gray owl. It's a powerful owl that can blast through hard-packed snow in search of prey, and whose baleful stare might dissuade any human from attempting to get too close a look. Great gray owls have large rounded heads with gray faces and yellow eyes surrounded by dark feather circles. Its upper parts are gray with pale bars, and the underparts are light with dark streaks. It has the largest facial disc of any raptor, with a white collar or beard just below the beak, and it does not have ear tufts. The long tail tapers to a rounded end. The great gray's length is believed to exceed even that of the Eurasian eagle owl. But its fluffy feathers and long tail obscure a body that's lighter than most other large owls, including the snowy and great horned owls. As in most owl species, the males are usually smaller than the females. The range of the great gray owl spans most of Canada through central Alaska, along with the northern parts of the U.S. Rocky Mountains. In the far north, the birds inhabit dense, wet evergreen forests where they hunt in meadows, bogs, or other open areas with scattered trees. Farther south, they're found in pine, fir, and oak woodlands and mixed deciduous and evergreen forests. Like the barn owl and long-eared owl, the great gray has asymmetrical ear openings that help them find prey by sound alone. The left ear opening is higher on the head than the right ear opening, and that enables precise directional hearing and lets them nab invisible prey. Their diet is made up mostly of small mammals like mice, moles, chipmunks, and lemmings. They hunt both at night and during the day from perches where they often listen for small mammals moving under the snow. Although the great gray owl's far northern range and elusive habits make it difficult to monitor numbers, Partners in Flight estimates the global breeding population at 120,000 and rates the great gray owl as a species of low conservation concern. The great gray owl has many nicknames, including the spruce owl, the bearded owl, the spectral owl, and the phantom of the north. Today's featured feathered friend, Strix nebulosa, the great gray owl. Welcome again to our show number 1019. Sarah Kendrick is a migratory bird biologist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for the 8 states of the Midwest region. She's a Midwest point of contact for the Motus Wildlife Tracking Network, that is, serves as the U.S. co-chair of the Partners in Flight Science Committee, serves on national and international committees to address threats to migratory birds, and works to inspire conservation action to slow the decline of bird populations that are falling. One of those populations in decline is that of the iconic wood thrush, whose song, many feel, is the most beautiful in all of North America and maybe beyond. And Sarah joins us now to tell us a bit about the MODIS project, aiming to track the bird's migratory movements and inform conservation action. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure indeed. And this project is just so wonderful. MODIS sounds like an acronym, but is not actually a Latin word. You can correct me if I'm wrong, meaning movement or motion, and applied to migration research about birds and bats and insects. Tell us a bit more about MODIS and how it works.
Yeah, MODIS is really exciting. What I love most about it is that it's very collaborative. So MODIS works off a network of these stationary receivers on the landscape, which are listening all the time for MODIS digitized tags. And so the other part of MODIS is the tag, of course. So MODIS tags are very lightweight, and they work very well on our smallest animals like birds, bats, and large insects that move over very large distances. And so these tags are some of the only tags we can use on our very smallest birds, like some small passerine songbirds and these other insects and small animals. And the beautiful thing about MODIS is that it is collaborative. All of the receivers on the landscape work on the same frequency. So you can tag a bird or a bat or insect with a MODIS tag, and if it flies within any of the over 2,000 MODIS stations across the hemisphere or across your landscape, that detection is recorded. So the stronger the MODIS network of stations, the more we can learn really together, because we all maintain the stations to help all the projects.
So these tags don't have to be collected, right? There are other systems or older systems where you'd have to retrieve the bird at some point to get the tag, but not so with the MODIS system, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of really amazing tracking technologies right now. And yes, some of the tags log the data on the tag, and you have to recapture the bird to download that movement data off of it. But MODIS, once you tag a bird and release it, you're crossing your fingers that it flies within range of one of the many MODIS stations. And yes, you don't have to recapture the bird to get the data off the tag, correct?
And where are these stations, and what determines their location?
Yeah, so MODIS is really... It's run by Birds Canada in Ontario, and but it really relies on a massive network of MODIS champions kind of across the hemisphere and across the world. So there's over 2,000 stations, most of which are in the United States and Canada, but also across Central America, even in South America, and some in Australia and Europe as well.
And I think before we went on the air, you mentioned Colombia, because we had that audio postcard from Colombia and tracking stations there. So yes, this project began with a proposal that you submitted. So beyond the fact that folks love the wood thrush, why that bird for the study? And maybe expand a little bit about the sort of main goal.
Yeah, so the wood thrush is a really iconic medium-sized songbird, as you said before, with a really beautiful song across eastern deciduous forest in the eastern U.S. and Canada. And it's a bird that's been declining. It's gotten a lot of conservation attention over the past 20, 25 years. And it is a priority species on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Birds of Conservation Concern list. You mentioned Partners in Flight, which I'm active in, and it's a priority species for them as well. They hold priority status in 25 U.S. states, and it holds threatened status in Canada. So it really does need our conservation attention. It has gotten quite a bit over the last few decades. And so really improving our understanding of the ecology of the species across its full range, breeding range, as well as non-breeding range where they go in the winter, in our winter, is really important to understand how we can target conservation efforts for this species to slow and stop its declines across the range.
How many partners do you have? It sounds like there are quite a few involved here.
Yeah, so we got a huge response to this project. Really, we started out just pitching this idea to many partners across the eastern U.S. and Canada, and we had a lot of people sign up. They really wanted to raise the funds within their state or province or country and really help fill this niche. And so we have over 60 conservation partners out there on the landscape tagging wood thrush across 25 states in the U.S., Canada, and then 6 Central American countries. They're tagging birds right now as we speak across the non-breeding range in Central America, and that's coordinated by our partner Selva in Colombia and South America.
So we know the project is pretty new, having gotten started when?
Yeah, it began this last summer, 24, but of course there was about a year of planning before that between myself and all of these different partners getting on board and all of those partners, handling logistics, raising funds, purchasing tags, getting out in the field. It's probably over 100 partners that have been involved in some way, shape, or form over the last year and a half. But tagging began at least this last summer, and it will run through summer of 25.
Mm-hmm. So the project, you think, could be completed then or later than that?
Well, we're going to have a lot of data. This last summer, this is the largest MODIS tagging project to date. Mm-hmm. And so we deployed almost 600 MODIS tags on wood thrush across 25 states and Ontario. And that's just for the summer. That doesn't count the over 100 tags that our partner Selva will be deploying right now across 6 countries. And it doesn't include next summer's effort of putting out tags. So we could have maybe, over, I don't know, I don't want to speculate, but hundreds and hundreds of wood thrush MODIS tag data to analyze. And so we'll need a little while after the field part is over to analyze all those data to see what we can learn about the species.
All right. Well, I won't want to pester you, but I will be in touch again so that we can get
that would be great. That would be great. I'd love to update everybody on how it's going.
Indeed. We'll get an update. We'll have you back on the show with that. Sarah Kendrick is a migratory bird biologist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for the 8 states of the Midwest region, and she is the driving force behind this multi-year MODIS system-enabled wood thrush tracking project. Sarah, thank you for being on with us, and best of luck as the project continues.
Thanks, Ray. Everybody enjoy your birds and feed them well right now.
All right. Up next here on Talking Birds, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather. The flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4-VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. There it is again. It's our mystery bird. The description: our mystery bird is a medium-sized perching bird with a black-barred brown back, a black tail, and a white rump. Its underwings are yellow in the eastern form, red-orange in the western form. Our bird hammers on trees but prefers to find food on the ground. Ants are a favorite. It's found year-round over most of the U.S. with additional breeding territory all through Canada and Alaska. That's our mystery bird, and this is the actual contest underway now in which we invite you to call us and tell us what you think that bird is. A correct answer means you're the winner. An incorrect answer means you might also be the winner. Nonetheless, if no correct answer is received, we do a little drawing there so that we can give away our prizes one way or the other. But here is the phone number, 781-837-4900. That's 781-837-4900. I'll give that number again in a moment. Our mystery bird, medium-sized perching bird, and I guess we did give all those clues. It's the prizes we haven't mentioned. From Fresh Cut Paper, makers of beautiful life-size pop-up floral bouquets that are wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime. We have a certificate for 5 bouquets, and yes, they have bird-themed bouquets among their selections. And their bouquets have a small fraction of the carbon footprint of imported flowers, and Fresh Cut plants a tree for every bouquet sold, among the other very environmentally friendly things that they do. So we are really happy to have them as a prize provider, and that certainly goes for our friends at Birds and Beans. Truly delicious, shade-grown, bird-friendly coffee grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for warblers and tanagers and wood thrushes and hummingbirds and more of the birds that we all love, chilling out down in the tropics right now in habitats preserved in part thanks to shade-grown coffee. Birds and Beans, shade-grown coffee. So those are the prizes. Here's that number again as promised, 781-837-4900. Please do call us as soon as possible, thereby having enough time, we will, for the show. For the contest. 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, we'll check in with Mike O'Connor almost live from the archive. Let's ask Mike in just 1 minute.
Ready to take your backyard bird watching to the next level? FeatherSnap makes Wi-Fi-enabled smart bird feeders that blend the best of technology and nature. Get a high-def glimpse of your feathered friends with a top-of-the-line camera so every visitor can be seen with clarity and detail. A unique dual feeder bin helps attract more species, and built-in solar panels keep your camera's battery going strong. FeatherSnap's mobile app creates a truly immersive experience, allowing you to collect and organize your favorite pics and videos and earn badges along the way. FeatherSnap is a convenient and fun way to capture powerful images of your local birds and help get your friends and family excited about bird watching. Best of all, FeatherSnap offers expert-trained AI identification of more than 275 North American species, thanks to their in-house ornithologist. Check them out today at feathersnapcam.com. feathersnapcam.com.
Now let's talk to somebody else who turns a lot of people on to birds. No purchase required, and that would be Mike O'Connor. They're at the famous Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Good morning, Mike.
No purchase required, but it's preferred.
It's preferred, I see. Perhaps you get a little more depth of information if purchases.
Right, yeah, well, yeah right. Right. The more you spend, the more truth you get.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Mike, a bird that a lot of people love to hate would be the European starling, even though it's a pretty interesting bird. But I think you had told me earlier there are about 200 million of them in the U.S. or North America, which seems like maybe that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, and, not long ago, probably, when you were a kid, there wasn't any. There was none, and it's European starling. The name indicates they're from Europe, and they were brought over here in the 1890s to New York City because one guy thought, you know what, here's a good idea. Let's bring the birds that were mentioned in Shakespeare's work to the New World. So he introduced them. So there's another reason not to like Shakespeare right there. Boom. So from that population of maybe like 100, it's exploded, and now there's 200 million of them. And, for them, they've been a problem, Some people will defend them, say, okay, they've acclimated, they're here, now they're speciated to this continent, let's just get on with it, not quit. But they do cause problems for native species, but more importantly, they cause problems for people who feed backyard birds. They spend a lot of time, at least in my part of the world, out in the marshes and the wetlands, eating invertebrates and insects and things, but when things freeze up this time of year, they head towards the backyards and go to the feeders, and that's when I get the complaints. So what I tell people to do, and for whatever reason, I don't seem to have much problem with it, but it depends where you live, I think, and they can dominate a feeder. So this is what I tell people to do, but based mostly on just what I've talked to people about or have read, because it really hasn't never been an issue for me. But they like soft food, so the first thing they go after is suet. They like suet. Oh my gosh. They also will eat some of the seeds that you put out, especially hulled sunflower seeds. They'll dominate those. So your options to kind of slow down the grackles a little bit. And remember, these are not grackles. People mix up the starlings, especially in the winter. They're speckled. They're less speckled in the summertime, but they're really speckled this time of year. And grackles are always that shiny, iridescent black-green. And grackles are natives, of course. And so what people will do is maybe switch to striped sunflower seed. Remember the old school striped sunflower seed that the baseball players spit out all the time? Starlings have trouble with eating those, so you might want to switch to those. For suet, they make these, what they call an upside-down feeder, so the suet is only accessible from underneath, and clinging birds like nuthatches and chickadees and woodpeckers fly up underneath and grab the suet, where the starlings apparently have a lot more trouble doing that. So that would be another option. And your last option, the same option you might want to do for all large birds like blue jays and grackles, is put them in a cage. The feeder sits inside the cage, so only the little birds can zip in and out.
All right. Thank you, Mike. By the way, Mozart was a big fan of starlings. He had a pet starling that supposedly influenced some of his music. So that's another point in their favor.
I think that Starling wrote the theme song to my show, as a matter of fact.
That's another one. I was not going to reveal that yet, but that's okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, we'll talk
next week. Mike O'Connor here on Talking Birds. We're back to the Mystery Bird Contest. We'll hear this bird just a couple of more seconds, our mystery bird here. Okay, that's probably good. And we'll go to a call here, and it's from Ken in Memphis, Tennessee. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Nice to hear from you from Memphis, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling in. And what do you think our mystery bird is?
I think it's a northern flicker.
Northern flicker sounds pretty good to me, and the audience here agrees. Northern flicker. Absolutely right. We're talking about migration today. It's one of the few North American woodpeckers, we're told, that is strongly migratory. Flickers in the northern parts of the range move south for the winter. Some do stay up in the north, but I guess you call them a partial migrant, but a very, very cool-looking bird. Did you have something?
They're residents here.
They are residents there in Tennessee. Well, good job, and I think we have time for a bonus question if you'd like to go along with that.
Sure.
One of the things we try to promote here is something called plurting, which is picking up litter while birding. So we're kind of focused a little bit on the idea of litter. It is a big problem for birds and many other creatures in our whole planet. Here's the question. What is the most littered item in the world? Multiple choice. A, plastic bottles. B, automobile tires. C, plastic wrappers. Or D, cigarette filters. What do you say? Ken, what do you think?
Boy, that's a tough one.
I know.
I'm going to go with tires.
Which one?
Tires.
Oh, with tires. No, it's actually cigarette filters or cigarette butts, you could call them. Far and away the most littered item in the world, with roughly 4.5 trillion being tossed each year. The Americans for Non-Smokers' Rights Group says that more than 1.5 billion pounds of cigarette butts ended up as toxic waste just last year. And, of course, they are made in big part with plastic. That's why they're toxic waste. And to put that into perspective in terms of the amount, it's equivalent to the weight of nearly 178,000 African elephants, or more than 500,000 compact cars, all from cigarette butts. Kind of shocking, but apparently true. Ken, thank you so much, and congratulations on correctly identifying the northern flicker as our mystery bird. And if you'll stay on the line, Jesse will get your info and send that down to Memphis.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. Memphis, Tennessee, and the northern flicker as our mystery bird. And guess what? We are just about out of time for this week. I wanted to give a quick plug again to our Talking Birds flock, our Facebook page for Talking Birds listeners. We have about 600 members in there talking about birds and sharing pictures and photo. Check it out. Just go to Facebook.com and then just type in Talking Birds flock in the search bar there. That's it for this time. Thanks for being with us, and see you next week.
The bird show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com. By FeatherSnap, the smart bird feeder with a high-resolution camera and species identification software aimed to educate and spread joy to every level of avian enthusiast. Learn more at feathersnapcam.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.